What's happening, guys? It's Liam Cook here from Coventry United TV with a nice little treat for you on the Coventry United YouTube channel. Now, usually we do our dugout interviews on a weekly basis on Thursdays on the Coventry United website in written form, but this week we're doing things a little bit differently. We've got video interviews for you with not one, not two, but three members of the Coventry United coaching staff. Firstly, we've got Joe Hughes from the Coventry United Ladies Reserve team. They've got a massive League Cup tie coming up against C&K Basildon on Sunday. And of course the usual interviews with Jay Bradford from Coventry United Ladies and Ollinton Matthews Paris from the Coventry United First team. Check it out, guys, you're not going to want to miss this. Firstly, on this special edition of The Dugout, we're here with the manager of the Coventry United Ladies Reserves, Joe Hughes. Joe, you've got a great match coming up against C&K Basildon in the Women's Premier League Reserve Cup. It's a quarter-final match, so congratulations on getting to that stage of the tournament. You must be very excited for this match. Yeah,
it's a great opportunity for the girls. It's the furthest the reserves have ever got in their history, so it's going to be an exciting encounter. And we've prepared well for it this week, so I'm confident going into the game. It'll be a tough test, but I'm reasonably confident.
Well, of course, it's not just a cup that you've thrived in this season. You're second in the Midland Division, only behind Leicester. But Basildon are third in their division, in the Southern Division of the Premier League Reserves. So on paper, it looks a very even contest. Is that what you're expecting?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a really tough game. As I say, they're roughly in the same position in their league as we are. So everyone's going to have to be on it, every individual, if we're going to get a result as a team. So I'm expecting a really tough game. Their first team, I think they're very physical. So we're going to have to be prepared to compete.
Victories over Cardiff and Loughborough in the previous rounds have got you to this stage of the competition. What can you take out of those games that can aid your progression to the semi-finals?
I think, reflecting back, I think to get through the Cardiff game, I think we rode our luck at times. We equalised in the 19th minute and took it to extra time. So, but from the Loughborough game, it was our best performance of the season by far. We won that game comfortably 4-0 and we dominated from minute 1 to minute 90. So if we can put on a performance similar to that, then I'll be reasonably confident that we can progress to the semi-final.
Well, if you beat Basildon, you're just one step away from the final. Do you think you can go on to the final and win it all?
That's the aim. When I came in with the girls this season, I said the aim is to go as far as we can in the cup. And in the league, I said I wanted it to improve on what you did last year. We've already done that in terms of the cup. We've beaten our points tally from last year already as well, and I just want to see how far this team can go.
Well, the Coventry United Ladies First team have been on fire in cup competitions as well this season, and some of your players have been involved in those respective cup runs. Has the success of the first team inspired the reserves to replicate that success?
Yeah, it's been absolutely brilliant that some of the girls have been given that opportunity to play in the first team, and the ones that have stepped up have fully deserved that opportunity. The first team have been really successful. They're still in 3 competitions, still competing in the league, and I think that comes down to the reserves, that everyone's competing for the same thing, and it makes it a competitive squad, so it's good.
And finally, as we said earlier, we've seen reserve stars like Lucy Stead and Jess Lundy thrive in first team fixtures this season. Can those breakout stars make their stay in the first team permanent? And also, who's next to break out of the reserves?
I think they definitely can. I managed our game was called off the week we played Burton, so I was able to get along to the game, and I was really impressed by all of the reserve players that played. And hopefully they can stay there. They're given that opportunity, and hopefully they'll just stay there, they'll be involved, and maybe next season they won't be in the reserves, they'll be very much part of the first team squad. In terms of stepping up, I think there's some players, I'm not going to name names because I think that'd be unfair, but there's some other names that could definitely make that step up.
Okay, it's round 2 now on this special edition of The Dugout. We're here with Jay Bradford, the Coventry United Ladies manager. Jay, huge match this weekend in the FA Cup 4th round against Millwall. You and the girls must be absolutely buzzing for this one.
Yeah, obviously we're excited. I always say the FA Cup's exciting because everybody knows what the FA Cup is, whether they like football or dislike football. So yeah, it's a good opportunity for us to go and kind of showcase ourselves.
Well, of course, the club have Super League ambitions. We want to be a Super League club. So would a win over a Super League 2 side like Millwall prove that we can hack it at high level? Yeah,
of course. We aren't shy about our Super League ambitions, and we've made steps this year to bring us closer to Super League, kind of the format and how they run and stuff. But for me, it is about putting ourselves on that stage, and can we compete? Can we cope with what's in front of us?
Well, as good as recent results have been, it's about 6 games winning now. keeping that run together is a whole different ballgame. So what can you do as a manager to make sure that brilliant form continues?
I guess, I mean, my job, I kind of see it as, making sure the players are okay, making sure they've got everything they need, making sure they're getting the information that they need in training, whether that's from me or Matt. If they've got any questions, I answer them. We share footage between ourselves. Just making sure that everyone's ticking over and everyone's happy, and that nobody's got kind of any unanswered questions floating around, whether that's about formation or selection or whatever it might be. We've got quite a nice, honest environment, so that works for us. And I think, if we can go to Millwall and put our game plan to them, I think we'll give them a real good go.
There's a couple of players coming back from injury, Steph Smith, Kean Davis, both back training on Sunday. But the reserve players that have come in have been doing absolutely brilliantly. So are the injured players coming back into the team now? Are they going to go straight back into the matchday squad?
Yeah, so Keely and Steph are going to travel with us on Sunday to Millwall. Jess Lundy's still in the squad. And it's nice that we've got strength and depth, not just in our kind of squad of 17 at the first team, but actually when you look at the reserves and what they're doing, that we can just lean on them and say, right, come and play for us. And obviously they did that against Burton and against Cambridge, and they've been brilliant. To be fair, we've just had an 11v11 out there now tonight, and they're pushing first team players, and the first team players look at them and know that they've got to be on their game to not only keep their place in the 11 but keep their place in the squad. I think that's important.
And finally, last night, the transfer window closed in England. Not really much in terms of player movement for the ladies. There hasn't really needed to be. So, a bit of a silly question, but there's not going to be any more signings. I mean, there doesn't really need to be, does there?
I wouldn't rule it out, because I don't think you ever can rule it out. But, I think the squad's settled. I think it's in a good place. There's competition for every position. And like I say, I think for me, having been the reserves manager, I think it's important that they recognise that they've got an opportunity as well. And if we just keep bringing players in, then they never get that opportunity, and they never kind of get to thrive in a first team environment. So I think that's important, and I think by not having a massive squad at the first team, it allows us to do that as a club. And we're big on that. We want our reserves and our juniors to see a pathway.
And finally, on this very special edition of The Dugout, we're here with the Coventry United first team coach, Ollinton Matthews-Paris. Well, Ollie, let's start off with talking about the upcoming fixture. Away at Shetshire Dynamo this coming Saturday, hopefully, weather permitting. Another very tough trip, they're 9th in the league. What are your thoughts on this match?
Something I think we're looking forward to as a group. It feels like we haven't played a game for a little while now. But that's been good for us in terms of preparation, getting the lads back together, done some good fitness sessions, so we're ready to go.
Well, given the amount of postponements recently, United have slipped down to 12, partly because of the postponements, partly because of the form hasn't been brilliant. But with so many games in hand, what position do you think is a fair reflection on how the season has gone? Because 12 isn't really a fair reflection, is it?
I mean, looking at the league, I think with about 4 games in hand, if we win those games, we're around 4th, 5th, 6th. Is that a fair reflection? Well, they say the league doesn't lie, but looking at the games, we've been in all of them. I think we've been unlucky at times. A bit of consistency and a bit of luck. I think we'll be right up there.
Well, of course, this losing run hasn't really helped things, or winless run hasn't helped things. Looking back at previous results, though, I mean, although there are 1 or 2 disappointing scorelines in there, most of the defeats have been against sides in the top 8. I mean, with a so-called easier run to come,
Sure.
How much ground can be clawed back? I mean, what will it take for United to claw the way back up the league?
I know it sounds like a cliche, you try to say it, but you do take every game as it comes. If you win your games, it doesn't really matter what happens elsewhere. I'm pretty confident that who we've got, we can get points in these games. And as you say, they are so-called easier games to come. If we've been in games to the death in places like Sporting Council and Bromsgrove, I think we're in pretty good stead to do well.
Well, with the scheduled and unscheduled fixture breaks recently, has this inoperative period given the management and the players time to work on the flaws from previous matches?
Most definitely. I think also one of the things we've done, which has been really good, is the strength and conditioning work we've done with some of the players. It's been good to get some of those niggles away, some of those kind of like cobwebs out the legs. We've worked on some things in training that have done really well. We've worked on the things we've been good at, as well as the things that we're not so good at. And I think with a little bit of luck, I think we'll be okay. It might sound strange, but we've actually been playing quite well. It's been unlucky at times. So keeping that group together, keep them positive, I think we'll be okay.
Well, of course, last night the transfer window closed, but of course the MFL isn't restricted to 3 months of player movement. Before the transfer deadline in a couple of months' time, do you predict there's going to be much more transfer activity at Coventry United?
It's difficult to say, but I know the gaffer looks to improve at all the times, whether we were bottom league or top of league. I think if you find someone that he thinks will do a better job and help the team, I think he'll bring him in. So I wouldn't be surprised, but the group's pretty strong. So as long as we keep the core group together, I'm sure they'll be okay.
Well, the pressure's really been on both the management and the players the last few weeks. How is the squad and the coaching staff handling that pressure, and can it spur United on to victory this coming Saturday?
Yes, I do think so. When you're kind of under a lot of pressure and under the cosh, and some results go against you, it has a kind of a galvanising effect on the staff and the players. It's a good group, there's a good spirit in the group. We work hard in training and we see them working hard on the pitch. So that positivity, I think, will see some good stuff for the season, and I can pretty much see us getting quite far, I think. I think we'll do okay.
And finally, we've just spoken about it off camera, a bit of news on your future to share with us all.
Yeah, just speaking to the gaffer and the guys that I'm going to be moving on soon, only because I'm literally leaving the country at the end of the season. I've been offered an opportunity with my personal company to kind of take on a big contract, so I feel it's kind of the right time now, I think, to move on. But I've thoroughly enjoyed my time here, had some great times with yourself and the guys, some great results, some heartbreaking times. But yeah, wish Coventry United thanks very much and all the best in the future.
Well, thank you very much to you, Ollinton. Thank you very much.